Did you hear about the pedophile Satomu Miyazaki, the otaku killer?
I didn't. Did you hear about the Wichita massacre? The Carr brothers were released on bail for non-violent offences, but then went on to kill 5 different people in one night.
What? How about the Columbine massacre and the fact they considered hijacking a plane?
I genuinely didn't even know about that. Join me, Claire,
and me, Angela, to the Murder on Our Minds podcast,
where we will discuss cases from all over the world powered by wine, snark, and a genuine fascination with murder. So if you like true crime,
you can listen and subscribe via Apple Podcasts or through your favorite podcatchers.
Always be careful who you swipe right on, and try not to get married within the first month of meeting someone. You'll find out why in this episode. All these tennis chains like I'm in the tennis game, y'all homies wearing gold ropes. You're broke.
Have you even never played tennis?
Killers out the 6.
Have you ever even played
Got
tennis?
'em
Answer
all
the
high.
question.
Ex-girlfriends. Got 'em
Sir,
all
answer the
high.
question. You are in contempt of court right
Have
now.
I ever played tennis?
Yes, Andre Agassi, answer the question.
I have played tennis. We used to have a tennis court at McMorrow Field, right across the street from my parents' house. We were abysmal at it, Chase and I.
Okay, which one of you had your shirt off?
Ooh, we weren't just shirt off couple.
I thought when you play tennis, well, you have one shirt off, one shirt on.
We burned easy, and we didn't want our plenty tits hanging out.
Cody, you're definitely thinking of like pickup basketball.
I think you are.
You know
I also used to do with the Mexicanos down at Spruce Park.
I used to shoot
Before
hoops.
they took down the net because there was too much violence.
I always think back to, I don't know what episode it was, but Jordan was telling us about him. You played Shirts and Skins in Lutheran High School, and we changed the name from Shirts and Skins to, what was it, Shirts and Sinners or something like that?
Yes. Was he here for that even?
I think so, right?
Okay, I can't remember if he
I
was.
personally do not remember that.
I mean, it could have been like when we were still ripping on him every episode
That
without
could
him
be.
actually being here.
We haven't done that in a while.
Because
like
he's
a
here.
week and a half. The roast mode from the Bumbles like a week ago.
With Jordan and Girl Jordan. I'm glad they could take up the mantle and do that podcast for us.
Speaking of school, I don't know how this came in my head, but I realized I'm
going to come in your head.
I hope before I die, there's something I really want to witness. I want to
murder.
No. I want to witness a principal have a mental breakdown during a graduation ceremony. Like, doesn't he do that in Billy Madison?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
he just loses it. His wife just left him. He's developed a mild drinking problem.
All because
he
of
can't
Billy.
handle these kids anymore. And just goes off. I think that'd be amazing to watch that.
Definitely.
Does that make me a sick person?
No.
I think it would be quite funny.
That's the pinnacle of an educator's career.
It's been so long since we've gotten to see, like, someone freak out and quit their job at work. I really want to see that soon.
My favorite one was the JetBlue flight attendant. It turned out he was a gay man, but that doesn't come into the story until later. So, there was a man, and the plane was taxiing. He still got up and was trying to get his bags out of the thing. They're like, sir, the plane's moving. Sit down. We're not at the gate yet. You're just being an asshole. And the guy didn't sit down, and he kept getting his luggage, and then he hit the steward in the head with it. The flight attendant in the head with his luggage. So he said, you know what? Fuck this. And he grabbed 2 beers out of the tray.
Hell yeah.
Popped the emergency exit, slid down the thing, said fuck you to the plane, said I quit, got in his car, drove home, got arrested later.
Yeah.
In the arms of his lover. Yes.
You can't do that. So I'm guessing the plane wasn't moving.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know,
And
actually.
you still popped that fucker?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, they don't taxi very fast.
And the pilot will know, because I think 1 billion alarms go off in the cockpit.
So he's resting his hangover over, and he's like, what is waking me up right now?
Why aren't there blue and red lights all over the place?
I will say that would probably be... I hope I'm never in the predicament where I have to use that door.
Yeah.
But that slide looks kind of fun.
It looks amazing. It looks amazing.
There's nothing more terrifying than having something happen in a plane.
Yeah.
But if it ever does, I hope I'm alive long enough to use the slide.
Yeah.
That's my one goal.
Or at least be Marky Mark.
Do they lubricate it, or do you just go down?
It might be dry. I'm not sure.
It might be dry?
Yeah.
Seems like you could get a little bit of a rug burn or something on
You know,
Seems dangerous.
especially with these women that are wearing all these tight, small clothings on the planes these days.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I was just being sexist.
I'm trying to be controversial now.
You're trying. I don't know if you're quite... You'll get there. You do every episode.
I want to be Rush Limbaugh, part 2.
Well, have you been popping prescriptions?
Oxycontin,
Yeah.
while saying that all drug users should go to prison or be executed for like 30 years.
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's the exception.
I guess so. He went deaf because he ate so much Oxycontin. That's
Is that a
crazy.
thing?
Yes, you can go
Wow.
deaf.
Jesus.
Like permanently or temporarily?
Well, he's lost like 80-90% of his hearing.
Okay, I haven't seen him in a long time, but he had like the balding, like halfway up, and then the ponytail.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Ugh.
He's a hottie.
We call that a
that's sexy.
skullet.
He's a hot motherfucker.
Are you guys gonna be rocking a skullet? You think when you're older, or are you gonna just shave it off?
Once my hair goes, I'm cutting my whole head off.
You seem fine because you have like a full, luscious, thick hair. I'll probably
Thank
be
you.
the first to be bald.
I
don't know,
You're
Jordan.
already making some progress on that.
Are you? It's
My-
not running away.
The hairline's creeping.
It's consistent, though.
The stress up here.
Oh,
The
yeah.
stress is eating my hair away. Which just sucks because my dad is almost 60 and he has luscious, beautiful, thick hair, and I'm going to be cursed of being bald.
He's perfect form Cody.
He is.
He's final form Frieza Cody.
He's like if you imagine me, but a perfect specimen.
Yes, that's Rick.
I'm the genetic mutation from Rick.
Yes, yeah. You are the problem.
Him and my sister will probably be the perfect specimens, and I'll be the trash baby.
You're not actually his son. You're like his twin that didn't develop all the way, and somehow you were fertilized much later. But he got all the good traits.
I want a son, but he can only be 50% of what I am.
Can't have that little bastard outdoing me.
No.
No. I don't even think I've gotten... I probably couldn't even beat him at basketball yet. And he's
Goddamn.
I don't know. I should play him. I should challenge him.
That man's got the layups, I guarantee you.
Dude, just cross him up.
He does. The weird thing is, like, he has that dad strength. I've never
Oh, yeah,
understood
old
where
man strength.
I'd never understood where he's getting it from.
He's been working on cars his whole life.
He's got the like farmer's gross hands, like callous, complete hands.
Sure, every finger's been broken at least 3 times.
I don't know. I've never asked him if he's broke his fingers, but he's just got like those rugged. I'm so used to seeing the farmer's hands, those disgusting.
Gnarled
Yeah, they
claws.
look like 2 fucking leather gloves on permanently.
Yeah, it's
Like
awful.
every finger looks like a bratwurst.
It's
Yeah.
real bad.
Oh, I had bratwurst last weekend. It was delicious.
Man, with some onion, that's how I would do it right
Really?
now.
That's how you like? No sauerkraut?
Oh, yeah, kraut and onion,
Okay,
baby.
kraut and onion. Ketchup?
Make that thing stink.
You do not put ketchup on a brat.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry, I'm a ketchup boy.
Yeah, I put a ketchup on there.
Yep.
All you
and
need-
mustard.
All you need is some goddamn kraut and some brown mustard.
You have to have brown mustard. You can't just have...
Yeah, no, don't put yellow on there.
You don't want
You
Plockmans.
fucking heathens.
Gross fuck.
I was surprised you didn't say fucking whole grain mustard or something. That disgusting shit.
Ew, the seeded ones?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I love that shit
Get
so
your
much.
cock out of my
That
mouth.
shit is only good if you're like using it for like a marinade or like cooking with it, not on
I
a
don't want to
sandwich.
eat mustard seeds. I'm sorry to tell you.
Yeah,
No.
but when you bite and they explode, it tastes so good.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bumblebutt Podcast, the only podcast on the internet that uploads weekly. Who knows what it'll be about? Certainly not me. My name is Adam. Sitting across from me is Jordan. How are you, Jordan?
I am fantastic, Adam.
Excellent. How was your week? Can you tell me anything about it?
Yeah, my week was fun, but not really. Just a lot of hard days and long days at work.
But fat check coming up.
Yes.
I like fat checks.
First week of the pay period is done. I already have 56 hours in.
Just this week?
Yeah. Next week's looking to be the same.
Yeah. You're going to be rolling.
Is that why you're like a roasted tomato right now?
Exactly.
Is that why you look like an emaciated tomato?
When you were cracking Brad's back, I hadn't seen him turn that red in a while.
Really?
Yeah, I suppose you couldn't see him, but yeah, he looked like, I don't know, an angry Looney Tunes character, just got hit in the head with a mallet.
That thing popped. That thing popped. His little spine went in
What
every
happens
direction.
when you do that one time and he ends up like Lou Gaines?
That'll be awesome.
You paralyzed.
I don't think anybody in our audience will know who Lou Gaines is at
I
this
barely know who he is. I just think he's an old rock star, right?
point. Lou Gaines?
Isn't he?
I thought he was an Olympian.
Is he?
I have no idea.
Who's the one? He was a rock star, and I think he got in like a drunk driving accident. Now he's paralyzed from the legs down.
Actually, I have no idea.
I don't know. Someone send us in. I'm pretty sure it's a musician
You
of
just
some
picked
sort.
someone who you knew was paralyzed and went with it.
Oh, Leif Garrett.
Leif Garrett.
Leif Garrett.
yes.
Yes.
I didn't
Yeah.
see no fucking black ice. That's on VH1 Behind the Music.
They need to bring that back.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do that with like the modern musicians.
Lou Gaines. Who the fuck is Lou Gaines?
I sometimes names just pop in my head and I just spit them out and we roll with it. That's how we go here.
God, if he's an Olympian, I'm gonna look smart. But if he's not, I'm gonna look just as dumb as you, and that's gonna suck.
I'm just going to throw my money on movie producer.
All right, that's fair. That doesn't sound shalomy enough to be a movie producer, though.
Jesus. Okay.
That's
There
fair.
you go, Adam. You got it out of the way now.
I'm just kidding. Okay, Jordan, your week was good. Cody also here. He's having a sip of beer from Bianca. What are you doing?
I'm enjoying a Sculpin IPA with a catfish on it.
That's awesome.
I did forget that I am enjoying the Red Trolley Ale, and pretty quick here, I'm going to be cracking into that peanut butter Victory at Sea.
Are you into it?
I am quite a fan.
Raspberry lime lager.
Lager.
Yeah, lager.
From Minneapolis.
You're the only
one-
modest
Lager?
brewery.
You're the only one of us that's ever been to the UK.
It didn't mean I had lagers.
You're such an idiot.
Adam, can I hit him?
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah, he's within reach.
Cody, how was your week?
It was great. I enjoyed being sick a day, and yeah, it was great. Work was awesome as usual. I was so excited to go back, and
You had upset tummy, right?
no, I had night fevers.
Oh, yes.
I
Usually
had
night
them-
fevers make me have night shits.
I've never woken up in the middle of the night to take a dump.
With a painful diarrhea shit?
No.
Jordan?
I never have.
Okay.
I want to because I love taking shits.
It sucks.
I assume everybody likes taking poops.
Nice ones.
Yeah.
That are
No.
nice.
I like all of them.
No, I had like the weird fever nightmares.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
Fever
I hate
dreams.
them. I hate them. They're like the worst fucking. I wish I could remember them because I think they would have made a good movie, but they're horrible and scary.
They're horrible and scary.
I have to turn on a horror movie to get it out of my mind. I've been watching Z Nation. That puts me to bed.
I hate you.
Well, me and Casey love that. Casey loved that show.
I remember.
It's like extremely cheesy Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
With
Do you know what the best Walking Dead was? That didn't have any goddamn zombies in it, but was better than every one of these shows?
What?
Jericho.
Yeah, that was a good one.
God, I love that
I
show.
like that, and I liked Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really like those two shows. I don't know why they got rid of Revolution. I assume because, like, you can tell it was an extremely expensive show to make.
Right.
So I'm assuming maybe, like, people weren't catching on like they were with Lost. Because I think It's made by the same guys made Lost, I'm pretty sure.
The whatever, Lindelof?
Yeah. The fat guy who could, like... What do you make, like, the fireflies explode or something?
Yes, yeah.
That's where it left off. But, like, the Civil War part was, like, the coolest part of
Hell
Revolution. Yeah.
Man, I wish I knew what you guys were talking about.
That's all right.
You guys want to know what a real piece of shit show is?
I do.
911.
Reno?
No, it's just called 911.
yeah.
Wait, like the old show?
No, it's like a new series on Fox.
Yeah, remember they have,
It's-
like, Chicago Fire, and then I think it's along with it. It's about paramedics.
Yeah. Well, more about like the call center people too.
Boo.
No, me and Amy were just like sitting at the apartment, and all of a sudden it came on. We're like, all right, what's this all about? Because there were people like touring a chocolate factory, and a dude almost drowned in chocolate.
Oh, I saw the goddamn stupid commercial for
Then they
this.
just like cut to something completely different. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Well, I can tell you one
And
thing.
then all of a sudden it cuts to like one of the 911 call center people, and she's like having a mental breakdown and giving her coworker like her life story, and she's worried that her, she doesn't make a difference on the calls. And then it cuts to another 911 call. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here?
It's that Adderall filmmaking right there.
Dude,
That's not...
it's so bad you can't stop watching.
So you're saying that's not a good way to supplement foreplay?
No.
That's not a good way to get
No,
the
it's
party
not.
started. All right, we're going to jump into the episode here, boys.
do
We're
it.
15 minutes in.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
Yep.
Get
All
it.
right, guys. I'm taking over. It's me,
Ooh.
Adam. Long before dating websites and lying about your dick size through cyberspace, there was peril as well as companionship to be found among the columns of newspapers' personal ads.
Quick correction. People lie about height.
Dick
Yeah.
height?
Not dick size.
Oh.
Height,
No, height
Height-
is the big thing
height
now.
is the bigger problem.
6 foot? Is
Was
that
it-
what everybody says?
Was it Tinder that was going to have, like, you have to verify your height on there now?
Dude, you know
I
what's
have
funny?
no idea because I'm happily in a relationship.
One of our listeners sent me a picture of a guy that was holding up like a tape measure to prove how
Oh,
tall he was.
no.
Like that's how.
You want to know what? When I was literally today at work, I was standing there with you and Brad and Max, and I was feeling very insecure because like 3 giants towering around me. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm
How
too
tall is
fucking
Max?
short.
He's not that tall.
He's got to be like 6 foot, probably.
Yeah, I think he's 6'1".
When you're like 5'8", 5'9", like I am, you feel they're towering on you. They're beasts towering on you.
Man, I looked over at Donnie, who's as tall as me, but a skinny rail,
Yeah.
And I saw Steve, the parts mung man, like standing next to him, like looking up, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that what that looks like when we talk to each other?
I'm sure it does.
Me and Steve, I love him. All right, from the turn of the century until 1920, James Bluebeard Watson, a soft-spoken, mild-mannered Southerner, eluded law enforcement officials, leaving a bloodstained trail of dead wives in cities ranging from Canada to Washington to Idaho to L.A. He wed 22 women who responded to his ads, and he murdered at the very least a third of them in his twisted little quest.
That's got to be a record. 22?
Yeah,
Jesus.
That's impressive.
they all went missing. Like, none of them.
This dude must be slinging some good dick.
This right now, whoever's going to read this will be the wanted ad that he put in every column of the newspapers.
Oh, I got this. A gentleman need an appearance of courteous disposition, well connected, has property and connections with several corporations, a nice bank account,
Oh.
and considerable government bonds. Would be pleased to correspond with a young lady or a widow. Object matrimony.
That's the one way to get a lady turned on to you. Government bonds.
That's right.
Hey, I should just make a Tinder profile that says, I have a lot of government bonds.
Marry me, baby. I got stock in the government. Signed H.L. Gordon or James R. Ruitt or J. Hewart or Harry M. Lewis, Walter Andrew, Dan Holden, P.J. Slavin, Bo Ridgemont, or at least 10 others.
Sure it ain't PJ Slavin?
It might be PJ Slavin. They all sound fucking fake to me.
I know. I like Bo Ridgemont.
Bo Ridgemont's pretty hot.
That's good. That's a good one. Yeah.
That's pretty hot. I'd marry him if I were a young widow.
I mean, it sounds like he's from France, but also
Fought in the war.
His family's got some old money.
Definitely. He's nobility. French nobility. For those who replied to this ad, he would arrange a personal meeting leading to a taking it way too fast relationship where he would either fake or possibly believe he was in love. He would then defraud the wives' families and then kill the wives.
Oh, so he gets the wife's family's old money.
That's his plan. He and all of his wives, which is believed he had up to 4 in each community at a time, would write out wills to each other, and further, he would inform his entire unwitting harem that he was a U.S. Secret Service agent who would be away frequently.
Clever.
I miss the time when you could just tell people you were a U.S. Secret Service agent.
I know. Just like, I'm going to be away for the weekend. I have hard investigating to do.
I mean, if I were to tell anyone I do anything besides masonry, they'd be like, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah. And this
like,
guy
I'm
did it
actually an
22
accountant.
times.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you know.
So far, I'm going to get the impression from the overall story, his worst crime is being a bigamist.
Yeah. Yes. And that will ultimately be his undoing.
God doesn't like bigamists.
No, certainly not. Now, our boy wasn't looking for just any old debutante off the street. He was looking for the widowed ones with children to look after. Perhaps believing that their husbands had left them a considerable amount of money.
Oh, I thought he just wanted a nice pre-made family.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, do you, buddy?
Hell yeah. It is the 21st, at this point, the 20th century. Do you?
Yeah.
The con had begun to unravel while he was living in Hollywood, when one of his dearly beloved became suspicious of his sudden out-of-town business trips and reported him to the authorities.
He's a Secret Service agent. He is the authorities.
The key word there is secret. Okay, you gotta keep it down.
What are you doing telling the local cops? I'm doing federal business here, lady. Catherine Wambacher Andrews knew that her husband, whom she knew as Walter Andrews, was up to no good. But the poor woman could have no idea how bad he truly was. She hired a private eye to check up on her wandering spouse. The Nick Harris Detective Agency took the case and immediately noticed upon checking federal registries that there was no federal agent named Walter Andrews. So they began to stake out their home in Hollywood. One night, Walter Andrews told Catherine that he was being called away to investigate a diamond smuggling ring for the Secret Service.
I don't think that's the Secret Service's job.
Hold on now. No. They used to do counterfeit stuff.
That's right. They were originally of the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Yeah. They were all about money. A locked black bag constantly in his possession also aroused her curiosity.
Ooh,
And her vagina.
And made it pulsate. The private detectives prepared themselves for a God-knows-how-long car ride, following Watson to his pressing Secret Service business, when, to their surprise, he pulled up less than a mile away from his home and got out of his vehicle.
Uh-oh.
How convenient. He walked into a house and didn't leave until morning. Must have been one hell of an investigation in
There's
there.
a lot of diamonds in that house.
Less than a mile away.
You'd have to do some deep cavity searching in that house for them diamonds.
Excuse me, I need to probe you quick.
Lube up. While Watson was out of the house, being what I can only assume is a rad overnight detective of some kind, Catherine and Detective J.B. Armstrong called for backup, the real LAPD, and he and a sheriff's deputy were soon searching through the house, where they picked the lock on the mysterious black bag.
Damn, it even had a lock on it?
I mean,
yeah.
My question is, did they have a warrant?
No.
That's very illegal.
Hey, listen. Shh. Hey.
Do you need a warrant against Secret Service agents?
Yeah.
They are a warrant against every American citizen.
Let's not worry about that right now. Keepsakes and treasures from his previous victims fell out, including savings bonds, marriage licenses, love letters, pictures, telegrams, storage receipts, bank books, safe deposit keys, women's jewelry, wedding rings, and property deeds.
I feel like the weirdest thing in here is the love letters.
You think
Or
so?
maybe the telegrams. I don't know.
Maybe they're love telegrams.
I guess.
I know, this dude's just riding dirty with evidence.
He's a sick puppy, though. He loves having all these trophies with him at all times. When Walter Andrew returned from his diamond smuggling operation, the police and private detectives had hard grips on their nightsticks.
Say it right, billy clubs.
Billy clubs, expecting a confrontation on being caught. But Watson turned out to be a cowardly little git. He stood about 5'9" and weighed 129 pounds. He had a face like a buffalo nickel, aboriginal and colder than a quick frozen fish.
Excuse me, I think a buffalo nickel is fucking sexy.
Very handsome.
5'9", 129 pounds. That's like fucking Austin, isn't it?
Yes, that's a fucking twig and a half.
One billy club hit could snap his fucking legs.
His sparse hair drooped over his high, shiny forehead. The lower half of his face was all jaw, a square of flesh and bone, and a wide mouth rigidly mounted on a high celluloid collar.
I mean, if he's got a chiseled jaw, that's not too bad, right?
Yeah, I mean,
It sounds like the rest of it's pretty awful, though.
It sounds like somebody took a sledgehammer and hit the side of his head 3 times.
I'm envisioning a Dick Tracy villain.
Okay, yes.
All right.
Isn't there one that has like his face all fucked up?
Yes.
Okay.
Man, that movie was pretty bad, though. But those comics were fun.
The NES game. I always remember
Holy
that.
shit.
That was bad.
Oh my gosh. It is also believed that he had a congenital sex deformity, which turned him to a shy, inhibited, nasty fellow, which he blamed solely on his mother. Apparently, when he was stripped and examined upon arrest, his secondary sex characteristics were discovered to be slightly feminine. Little James, who later changed his name to Watson, had a psychologically rough childhood, and in every psychiatric examination after his arrest, Watson would spit hot venom about his parents, and had a particularly horrid hatred for his mother.
Yeah.
She never gave him a kiss or a kind word, and she would pray for sins he never committed while hitting him with a horsewhip.
Ooh, it's not good. Wait, okay, so what's the sex deformity?
The sex deformity is coming up.
Ow, okay, alright.
It's coming up. It's not good.
It doesn't sound... When the words sex and deformity go together, usually it's not great.
It really sounds painful, and I hope none of our listeners suffer from it.
No.
Is my tiny penis considered a sex deformity?
Oh, that's just unfortunate, baby.
Okay.
I think it'd be like if you had a penis like the guy from Shape of Water.
A fish dick?
Yeah, if Jordan had a fish penis.
Yeah. He is considered America's most enthusiastic Bluebeard, and he murdered women for the fun of it. Considering he has 9 known victims and another 12 to 15 estimated, it's a real wonder I'd never heard of him, although I'm not as into the genre as Cody is. Watson did not trust reporters, and like a lot of these other whack jobs, he tried his hand at writing while he was in prison, but it failed miserably. Apparently what he was good at was murder.
So he was illiterate, dude?
You know what I mean, how some of them try and write.
Oh, yeah.
It probably just didn't flow well
Yeah.
and didn't know his adjectives and adverbs.
Yeah, kind of like me.
He was getting, well,
No,
you're
Cody,
much,
you just can't read.
yes, you can write like a motherfucker, but you can't read worth a nickel.
That's a good point. I was thinking about this because you briefly mentioned Bluebeard today, and every time I hear the word Bluebeard, all I think about is Jordan eating out Dr. Manhattan's asshole.
Sign me
why.
right the fuck up.
I thought you were going to talk about the Fables comics, but all right.
No, that's too easy.
That's what I was thinking
I don't even
about.
have a real beard anymore.
No, you don't.
I
You've
just-
really,
I just
you've
have
really
stubble.
trimmed down.
Does Dr. Manhattan wipe off blue on other people? You think? Or do you think he poops blue?
He's super radioactive. Well, no, because he can bang still.
I guess they don't.
He probably comes like green or something weird.
Like when you
Can
drink
you
a blue
imagine when there's
Gatorade.
5 of them? If he all comes at one time,
Ugh.
he can be a self-made bukkake.
Wow. Yes. Wow. I never thought
He's
of that.
talented.
He discovered that bodies stay submerged if you weight them with rocks and throw them into deep, cold water. This
we
knowledge
have a genius on our hands.
This knowledge accounts for why only one of his victims, who was quickly buried in a California desert, was ever discovered. Watson admitted bashfully that he had no time to search for his usual watery grave and had to knock her off on the spot.
So, in cold water, does stuff sink more?
That's
kind of what I feel like I've heard that before, but I'm not entirely sure.
That seems to be the theory that they're going off.
I guess
of here.
if it's colder, it might get harder, and then maybe I don't know.
Like it doesn't get all floppy or something.
Someone who's thrown a body in water, email us.
Yes, please. Or you just put enough rocks on there that it goes down regardless.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, coming from the masonry background, what would be your preferred rock, Jordan?
Ooh.
Like a limestone or like a...
Like, limestone's heavy, but it's very porous, so... I'd probably go with, like, a Fond du Lac Cambrian.
My favorite one.
I don't even know what that is.
I'm a Fond du Lac fan myself.
Okay. All right.
In a letter to Dean Jennings of Esquire magazine, published in April of 1946, Watson and Jennings have a little exchange.
I would appreciate if I could only be let alone.
Why don't you quit writing then?
Though legally dead, I can still pen my thoughts and sell them. I was once offered $15,000 for the life and loves of J.P. Bluebeard Watson.
Did you take it?
No, the offer was unfair. My lawyer wanted 50%.
Fucking greedy-ass lawyers.
No kidding. So that's a little newspaper exchange. They were toying with each other. Bluebeard was a bit of a local celebrity when he was arrested. I bet you can understand why.
I can imagine why, yeah.
Watson was born on July 3rd, 1871.
Ooh.
Although there is some speculation even about that. According to astrologers, the reason why he committed all but 2 of his crimes on or near bodies of water was because he was born under the sign of Cancer.
Ah, okay.
The crab.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
What is known, however, is that he was born in the village of Paris, Arkansas. The first and only child of Mr. and Mrs. George Gillian.
Guaranteed Paris, France copied Paris, Arkansas for the Eiffel Tower. I know
the Leaning Tower. Huh?
Yeah, I got you.
Watson ran away from home when he was 12, and he got lost in the late century into the modern era shuffle for the next 3 decades. He turned up in Canada in 1912 and went to work as a salesman for the Robin Hood Milling Company in Calgary.
Wow.
Several years later, his bosses and colleagues would call him
rather erratic, a very mild sort of person, and an awful bore.
Yeah, so he was a real stick in the mud type of guy. And that was a great Canadian. On the day of his arrest, using a hidden blade in his clothes, he slashed his own throat, trying desperately to die. But he had a tough neck.
That's quite the compliment.
Right?
I want someone to tell me I have a tough neck.
Is this the fucking guy from Assassin's Creed? Jesus. How the hell did he hide a blade in there?
It's 1920. Nobody knows what's going on.
I suppose. They don't need to frisk him or anything.
No. District Attorney Woolwine was convinced Watson was a psychopathic killer. But all his investigating only led to the fact that Watson had married around 22 women, and a shocking most of them disappeared. They disappeared so hard that police in 5 western states were unable to turn up a body.
So that's not a red flag?
I guess not. I guess you're good there.
What if his dating profile just said, maybe you can be lucky number 21, or 21 tries, but I think you're the one, baby.
You're my forever girl now. Because of these tough circumstances, Woolwine was forced to make a deal with the piece of shit.
Watson, if you show us the body, I will accept a guilty plea to 1 murder only and ask the court for a life sentence instead of death.
1 body?
Yes, just 1.
No one knows, then or today, exactly why Watson pointed the finger at himself. They were never going to find the bodies. Ever.
So you think he could have gotten away scot-free?
Yes.
Wow.
But he did use this to his advantage anyways. He made the best of his bad situation. Either way, he guided the officers to a lonely spot in the desert near El Centro, where they exhumed the remains of one Nina Lee Deloney.
So, Jordan, I think that means the center.
I think so. El Centro.
I don't know. Cody, you're not the smartest man on the planet.
And
Neither am I.
And a Nina is a girl. This is the Bumblebee Dora the Explorer lessons now.
Nina. There's a Nina's Coffee Shop in St. Paul.
Girls' coffee shop, bro.
It's a delicious coffee shop.
Watson said he was forced to kill Nina with an axe when she found a letter from one of his other wives and threatened to expose him.
I don't think you're ever forced to kill anybody with an axe. Just gonna throw that out there.
She found out he was a huge bigamist and a liar and a moiterer.
You know what?
Wouldn't you bury an axe in someone's skull?
She should have just did what my mom did when she found my love letters when I was a young boy and just humiliate me with them.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
That's not traumatizing at all.
I turned out fine.
You've got feelings. I'm going to make you feel like shit about that.
You know how many wives I've had? 0.
Hey, good point. None of them can be dead if you never had one.
See?
What I'm unsure of is why at this time he decided to give up the names and locations of 8 other women whom he had killed. I don't know why he would do that.
I'm pretty sure it's because he's proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
He loved the
This guy-
attention?
I'm pretty sure this guy from, like, writing the publicity, he loves it.
Oh, yeah. Loves being mentioned in the paper all the time.
He's one of those serial killers who just loves the attention.
Ooh, he probably jerks it in his little
Oh,
prison
I'm
cell.
sure he does.
What a piece of trash. Beatrice Andrew Artha and Bertha Goodnich met their fate in a rowboat on Lake Washington in Seattle. Agnes Wilson and Eleanor Fraser went down the Spokane River Falls near Tacoma with their skulls crushed by rocks.
Jesus.
Alice Ludvigsen died at the Wild Joe River in Idaho. Mrs. M.A. Watt and Marie Austin were drowned in the beautiful Lake Coeur d'Alene in Idaho.
Remember we mentioned that on the Dynamite guy.
Harry Orchard and the Dynamite Man.
Yeah, Coeur d'Alene.
That's right, Coeur d'Alene. The 9th, Elizabeth Prohr met an unfortunate finish near Plum, Washington, where Watson bashed her with a hammer and buried her under a tree trunk.
Did it say, like, his average, marriage time with these ladies?
It was not long. It was a matter of months before they were married, and then he would, have them killed almost immediately.
Does it give the ages of any of them, or, is there an age range for the ladies?
I wish I knew.
It's fine. It's so old, I know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just... A lot of these names, though, classy, old school lady names.
I know.
like them. I hope they make a comeback.
You think so? Well, there's a lot of Khaleesi's now, isn't there?
There really are.
But Agnes, you never hear. Beatrice? Eleanor. I love Eleanor.
Oh, yeah. Eleanor. Or,
Rosemary.
you know what I would like to come back to? Esther. Let me
like
meet
Esther?
an Esther.
Esther's a good name.
Okay.
I've
all
never
right.
met an Esther.
I feel like every Esther I've known is she's kind of cute, but she's really weird. She's like the nerdy weird girl.
Well, that's fine. Like a
There's nothing wrong with
manic
that.
pixie.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying.
Definitely. Esther, get at me. In describing these homicides, Watson did not show the imagination he developed later at San Quentin. Discussing the Goodnich murder, he was very deadpan.
We were by the lake, and an impulse came over me. I hit the girl. Something said, "Go ahead." And I went ahead. It was just getting on dusk.
As Dean Jennings of Esquire editorialized,
It was as good as a slot machine in your own home, rigged to pay every time. Watson was deluged with gush from widows, school teachers, housemaids, businesswomen, lonely, homely, forgotten women who wanted a home and security and perhaps a little thin lacquer of love. Don't we all, though?
don't we all?
I just want a thin lacquer of love. That's
So
all
he
I
was
need.
taking these desperate women, these busy women, and he was making them feel like they were the center of the fucking world, and then bashing their heads in or throwing them in a lake or throwing them off a waterfall.
I mean, I don't want to generalize here, but I feel like if we think, say, Nanny Doss, or even what the hell's, I forgot her name, the English killer.
Bathory?
No.
Oh, no.
What the hell is her name? We did 2 parts on her. I don't remember now.
I know.
Marianne Cotton.
Yeah, Marianne Cotton. like, during this time, I feel like people who weren't married by a certain age, there's a stigma.
Definitely.
That it's like, hey, I have to get married to someone or else I'm going to be low class in society, which is really sad.
And
I
if
think
they're
this
widowed
guy,
and have children,
Yeah,
and
this-
now they feel like worthless.
yeah, this guy, I mean, thank God now it's all
Different,
that shit.
yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
gives two fucks about any of that. But yeah, this guy totally is preying on it, just like Nanny Dawson.
Certainly. Good call. Good shout, buddy.
Hell yeah.
Watson ran a very good con, as gross as it is to say. He drove an expensive car, always bought flowers, French candies, and perfume.
So if I go on a date, all I need is French candies.
That's right, man.
Yes.
I keep bringing him fucking Reese's Pieces.
Well,
that's why
your
it's never working
She's
out.
not
for me.
E.T., asshole.
First off,
She's a fucking lady.
there's nothing wrong with Reese's Pieces.
She's not E.T., asshole.
Fuck that. I don't like Reese's Pieces.
Nah,
Sorry.
they're gross. They're waxy
Yeah.
shit.
I'd
fucks.
rather just have a cup.
Yeah.
A Reese's cup.
Yeah. I mean, I will say peanut butter M&Ms
Yes.
are superior.
Yes.
PB M&Ms are superior.
I remember-
Dump them in your popcorn.
That's good.
Well, all the theaters have Reese's Pieces.
I didn't ask about that though. I told you
said
to go get a
putting the-
peanut butter M&Ms and put it in your fucking popcorn. Is what I said.
I don't eat popcorn anywhere besides a movie theater.
Die.
Also, milk does.
I'm going to tell you one
That's
time
all.
before we record, Jordan, I'm going to whip you up the homemade popcorn with the special thing you cook over the stove.
Jiffy
so
Pop,
good.
baby.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do it.
And I'll fart on it just for you.
Oh, fuck yeah. A little bit of fecal flavor.
So Watson would talk about taking these ladies on Hawaiian honeymoons. And after this intense overload of affection and concentrated effort, he would be able to get her down the aisle easily.
Nothing sexier than a fucking 2-day boat ride to Hawaii.
Let's go. But in 1920, while two other women were making wedding plans, Watson was arrested with a list of 60 other marriage prospects.
Damn.
Jesus.
This is like Jordan without killing.
Yes,
Or with killing. I
with
mean.
more killing. Watson's case was so complex that no two psychiatrists ever agreed on a diagnosis. Dr. Edward H. Williams said flat out that Watson was insane and that the dominant element in the abnormality was sexual perversion. Watson admitted that he felt an enormous sense of relief after every murder, but he never once felt remorse, nor was he able to show any distinction between right and wrong. Dr. Lewis Weber suggested that Watson was afflicted with anthropophagy, or cannibalism.
Oh my god, it's Shayna.
Wait, did he ever actually eat anybody?
Well,
Uh-oh.
adding that Watson told him he always undressed the women after they were dead. Even so, Dr. Weber insisted Watson was absolutely sane. Dr. George Hunter found significance in Watson's hypospadias, which is a birth defect in which the opening of the urethra is on the underside of the penis instead of at the tip.
Oh.
So that's the sexual
Hold on now.
deformity.
Yeah,
What is that movie where that guy has that?
I don't know.
I think it's either called 100 Girls or 1,000 Girls. It's like kind of a rom-com. Basically, the story is I'm sure somebody's seen it. The guy's a virgin in college, and then he hooks up with this girl during a blackout in an elevator, and he's spending the whole movie trying to find this girl that he hooked up with or whatever. But his roommate, who plays Counter-Strike while watching porn and is kind of like your typical misogynist guy.
Yeah.
And they learn he's that way because he's scared of women, because one of them seen his penis with the urethra pointing down, scarred him for life. So I thought that was just like a movie thing, but apparently this is a real thing.
It really makes me uncomfortable to think about. Because I like my urethra exactly,
Yeah, so
exactly
do
where
I.
it is.
This guy just needs like an L joint, like just.
Do you just grab the tip and hold it over the toilet?
I
to
was
pee?
reading sometimes the urethral opening ends up below the scrotum.
Ooh.
What?
Yes.
So you
I was
just
reading it on Wikipedia.
So it's like a mud flap. You just pull your balls up
So,
and just let her go.
You're saying there's a lot of pissing on your balls
I
happening
don't know.
here.
I don't want to know. I don't want to. I never want to think about
So
this
you
again.
looked up pictures of this.
No, I looked up Wikipedia.
Okay.
I covered most of the screen and read a few paragraphs.
You just put your hand over the penis.
Yes,
I keep thinking of that. It kind of looks like a face hugger from Aliens.
Oh, it makes me sick.
You know what? I'm sorry if any listener has this
Yeah.
problem. We're not trying to be insensitive, but
I'm sorry.
this is weird.
I'm sorry, guys.
Like, I just didn't know it was possible.
Anything's possible in the world we live in.
Okay,
Jordan.
Kevin Garnett.
Dr. Hunter considered the combo of his weird penis problem and his curious sexual behavior and said he was a constitutional psychopath. Dr. Edward Hogue called him a sex pervert and a moral imbecile. Years later in San Quentin, Dr. Joseph Catton, a psychiatrist from San Francisco, examined Watson and came away completely baffled.
You know what? I mean, can't really blame him. Mental health wasn't, or like mental psychiatry and everything isn't what it is today. So they're probably like, have never really seen this type of thing before.
You can't just pop a Zoloft and fix somebody.
They're probably just like, yeah, he's got the demons in him.
Definitely. The gin. However, every medical man that looked him over agreed that James P. Watson was no dummy, and some of them went as far as to call him a genius. From evidence now available, Watson enjoyed toying with the doctors and never gave them enough solid information to make a diagnosis on. He was smart enough to grab Woolwine's reluctant offer for a life term, possibly the only mass murderer / serial killer on record who forced the state to support him in a comfortable cell for the rest of his life. Watson entered San Quentin on May 18, 1920 as prisoner 33755. For 2 months, this idiot had been the man of the hour in all the papers. He was dissected, cried over, gawked at, and quoted. And as he was escorted into the prison, inmates on Hangman's Row greeted him with cries of,
Let's do this together, Jordan.
Hang him, hang him, hang him, hang him.
and the other prisoners in the yard would have nothing to do with him. He was banished to the tuberculosis ward of the prison hospital and given a job as a male nurse.
Oh, I don't know if I'd feel safe being in that wing.
That's awful. That's awful. The consumption ward?
Yeah.
No, thanks. But the outside world still wanted to know everything about him. Warden James A. Johnston commented that men could never understand how Watson beguiled and bewitched women. He says,
I had to turn away a number of women who had no legitimate reason for calling, but faked excuses in the hopes of getting a chance to see him.
James Watson took a huge interest in helping the men affected by tuberculosis in his care, and drove every warden insane when he would demand extra care for my boys, as he called them. Not in a weird way, not in a sexual way.
The words "my boys."
I call everyone my boy.
Yeah.
Now you're a homophone. You've become a homophone.
Okay, you're right.
This guy, who was capable of murdering a suspected 25-plus women, gave strange inspiration to dying men, and he helped several inmates go out on their own 2 feet.
Hell yeah.
Watson became deeply attached to Clinton Duffy, who was the warden in 1946.
Isn't he a relief pitcher for the Twins?
Yeah. What is his name, though? Troy Duffy?
Tyler Duffy.
Tyler Duffy. What's Troy Duffy? That's Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
God damn. Clinton Duffy, who was the warden in 1946, he was a unique brand of warden, preferring a humane, understanding, reform approach to the prisoners instead of the brutal treatment San Quentin residents were used to.
I was going to say, I think prison around this time was pretty rough.
And you've listened to, you're the one that turned me on to the Niles and
Oh, yeah, Ear Hustle.
Ear Hustle.
Was
Yeah.
this guy on Ear Hustle, by the way?
No, but they did talk about how,
All you have to do is listen to last podcast about Carl Panzram, and you'll be like, Jesus Christ, this is a fucking Shawshank Redemption in real life.
they do one episode where they talk about like the history of San Quentin and like how it used to be like the world's worst fucking prison.
I don't
like,
doubt
so
that.
segregated and race wars like every day.
Ugh.
Metallica filmed a video there.
In San Quentin?
Yeah.
Which one?
I think it was for sane anger.
And that was probably the biggest. That was probably
I'm
the biggest.
madly in anger with you.
That's probably the biggest fucking atrocity that's ever happened in that prison.
Poor prisoners had to listen to Sane Anger for...
There's more suicides that
Probably like 2 full days of filming.
Oof.
Frequent contact with journalists and writers piqued Watson's brain, and soon he demanded a typewriter. Warden Duffy got him a machine, and for the next 10 years he shit out a bunch of nonsense. Watson loved to write light, flowery poetry, and wrote shitty poems to all the papers with such titles as My Ideal Wife, and Savage Beast and Murderous Men, A Living Death, and The Devil's Retreat.
This guy's a real fucking BTK, ain't he?
He's a cringe lord. He's a real fucking cringe lord.
Devil's Retreat.
He sent them to the New York Times, the Atlantic Monthly, and other thinking man's papers of the time, and was never put off, even when he was rejected constantly. Like we said earlier, he could have sold The Life and Loves of J.P. Bluebeard Watson, but he was pissed about the 50% commission.
You're in jail, dude. Who cares, you moron?
No shit. Take that 7.5 racks and do whatever.
I mean, you're a piece of shit, but that's fucking idiot.
Once, when author Jim Tully wrote an essay about his favorite Bluebeard, Watson broke out with a bitter attack, claiming the story was a fraud. Another time, after a true crime magazine of the time ran his story, he sulked for days until D.L.L. Stanley, the prison physician, suggested he write an official protest. He was constantly battling over the mail with newspapermen. At one point, J. Morgan Marmaduke was accused by Watson of trying to steal his buried fortune worth anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000.
That is quite a gap.
He was arguing with a dog?
Yes, with J.P. Morgan Marmaduke.
I'm glad I know that Great Dane's full name.
Yes.
Isn't Marmaduke a black lab?
No,
Marmaduke's a Great Dane.
God damn, dude.
Okay, all right.
Way to ruin the moment,
God
Cody.
damn, dude. So Watson thought he was trying to defraud him of his fortune that he got from...
If you guys can't tell, this guy has severe control issues.
Oh my God, yes.
Jesus Christ.
One journalist named Wyclef Hill of L.A. became so intrigued at the prospect of hidden loot that he spent 4 fruitless years searching for it in deserts, mountains, and coastal areas of California. Watson toyed with Hill and really came back to his old charismatic gaming ways, sending him on dozens of false trails.
I think this sounds like the origin stories to National Treasure.
Oh, the Nick Cage perfect vehicle that it is.
Yes.
Hill finally blew a gasket and filed a lawsuit against Watson for the cost of his hunt. Watson promptly countersued for defamation of character. Nothing ever came of these legal duels.
You're not going to get anything out of a fucking prisoner, you moron. You're stupid enough to believe him.
Listen, I want his commissary fund.
We shouldn't making fun of this because Jordan does this every winter.
He does?
He looks for the little Minneapolis...
Oh, the
Tribune
medallion.
thing. Yeah.
The Pioneer Press treasure hunt.
Yeah.
You try and find Bluebeard's lost treasure hunt.
Listen, man, one of these years.
You'll get it. It seemed at one point that Watson was getting questioned about missing women from every state in the Western Hemisphere. One man, a former Edmonton reporter, tried to connect Watson with 6 murders in Calgary, but Bluebeard brushed him right off. Another time, the county attorney in Tecumseh, Nebraska, felt sure Watson had decapitated a wife and stepdaughter in town. Morrissey said a man named E.H. Hess had committed this crime in 1911, using an axe on his 2 victims and setting the house ablaze.
So, he likes using the axe, huh?
He's a fan. He's a fan.
Okay.
And they're pretty sure that he did... Well, I'll get you right there.
Okay.
There was a mountain of evidence indicating that Watson and Mr. E. Hess were one and the same. Watson also confided to a psychiatrist some years ago that he lived somewhere in the Midwest in 1911, and he had deserted a wife there. But old Bluebeard vehemently denied that he was Hess, and nothing further came from the questioning.
Okay, this is making me wonder because did it say where specifically in the Midwest he was? Because
he was always very coy about it. Always.
Because there's very famous axe murders around early 1900s in like Iowa and I think Illinois, Minnesota.
I think it was in vogue at the time.
Okay. Well, I assume the axe is like a cheap weapon they could use.
Everybody's got one.
I was going to say at that time, you got to use wood to heat your house.
Yep.
So
The New Orleans Axeman was right around this time. I was just laughing because is this Tecumseh? Tecumseh? Tecumseh. Okay.
You ever heard of William Tecumseh Sherman?
No.
Okay. I mean, it's just history. It's just U.S. history. Whatever. Whatever, man. Ordinarily, Watson handled these barbs and insinuations with politeness and delicacy. A plea came from Mrs. E.J. Rose of Vancouver, system of victim Beatrice Andrew Wartha.
You said system.
I did?
Yeah.
System of victim? A plea came from Mrs. System. A plea came from Mrs. E.J. Rose of Vancouver. A plea came from Mrs. E.J. Rose of Vancouver, sister of victim Beatrice Andrew Wartha, wanting to know where the body was buried. Watson replied evasively, being a real sarcastic fuckbag, even though he had once confessed to the killing outright.
I will say that sometimes I am in doubt whether she is or is not dead.
He wrote in part.
Things regarding her are so clouded I could not make an oath of what became of her. I would think of a boat trip, for example, and I cannot remember her being with me later. I recall that this woman found on my person papers that showed what I was doing. Please tell the gentleman that I can never take upon myself the blame of doing it, for such acts are not part of my natural nature.
Wow, what a fucking prick.
He admitted to killing her, but she wanted to know where the body was.
I feel like everybody should just quit talking to this guy.
Yeah.
That's all he wants.
Yeah.
Just quit talking to him, and then he'll wilt away.
He'll cough up more bodies.
Yeah.
He'll get justice for everybody. In his 2 decades in San Quentin, Watson enjoyed being a bit of a celebrity. He was very proud of his title as Bluebeard, and typed the nickname on his manuscripts and shitty poetry time after time after time. He was always willing to send his fans, weird people who collect things from killers, as well as criminologists, whatever they wanted. Whether that would be a sample of his handwriting, a palm print, a custom poem, whatever they wanted, he would usually oblige within reason.
I want a plaster mold of his penis.
Do you? To see how all these women could fall for it?
It'll make a perfect sink because you put it on there and it'll come straight down.
Oh, right, because of the apoapsis or whatever it's called. He had such a good spot lined up in San Quentin, he refused to see the parole board and asked to be taken off the parole board list for the rest of his life.
Okay.
Unlike other inmates serving life sentences, Watson was eligible for parole due to the one tiny murder he was charged with.
Wow.
By removing his name, he was able to guarantee that he would never be tried in some other state, which would either result in the death penalty or a much, much less cushy cell.
So we think he's being weird, but actually he's being very smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's living
Gotcha.
in the life of luxury. He gets whatever he wants. He's a male nurse that treats tuberculosis patients.
Do you
Got a
think
typewriter.
You think he's got a Sega Genesis?
Dude, he's got Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
He's got Genesis.
He's playing Altered Beasts.
He's definitely... He'll never beat it, but, I mean, he'll play
Has
the first
anybody
level.
ever beat that game?
Yes, it's awful. I have. It's awful. In October 1939, Watson was stricken with pneumonia. He was close to 70, according to the best estimates, and for a while it looked like he was on the mend. But the son of a bitch suddenly and quietly died on October 15th. He was buried in the prison cemetery with a small board marked 33755 as his headstone.
He lived a lot longer than he probably should have.
I think so.
70 years old.
I
In
think
this
so.
time, yeah, you've made it a long time.
Clinton Duffy and other prison authorities were flooded with letters from men and women claiming a part of the Watson fortune. Relatives asked for $20,000 each as their respective share. To try and make sense of why all these relatives thought there was money, he examined Bluebeard's last will. Written in January 1937, the will disposed of cash, bonds, and other valuables listed at $80,000. Duffy was the named executor and heir to 1/3 of the fortune, and other beneficiaries included the latest warden, James B. Holohan, the Salvation Army, and other curiously assorted people.
So he was a fucking asshole his whole life, and he gave his money away to, like, decent people and organizations.
Maybe there's a twist coming up, Cody.
Oh.
He bequeathed $1 to any legitimate heirs who might show up. It looked as if Clinton Duffy was about to be a rich, rich man. But Bluebeard would have the last post-mortem laugh. Mentioning the money in the will, he had written,
"The location of the fortune will be revealed in another document."
Fucking Nick Cage.
Searching for this precious piece of paper, Duffy found it in a sealed envelope, and, he admits, opened it with skepticism and hope. There were a dozen pages, closely typed, and burning with deep hatred for a certain prison guard who was Watson's worst nightmare. And that was all that was there. The treasure was never mentioned, and neither Duffy nor anyone else have been able to find Bluebeard's treasure. Clinton Duffy, viewing the matter from a humorous perspective, suspects Watson was just fucking with him and the rest of the world. But he did leave something. A trunk full of awful fucking poems worth no money, and a prison bank account worth $18.70.
Well, that's probably like 16 cartons of Lucky Strikes.
You ain't kidding.
Hell yeah.
You ain't kidding.
What a fucking
Unfiltered
prick.
Luckies.
Okay, I was wrong. This guy was a prick till the very fucking end.
He was a bitter cunt all the way through.
Well, I will say, after hearing this story, he basically has fulfilled every trope of a serial killer where he had a bad mother, and then he took it out on the women, and I'm assuming the penis thing was kind of wrapped in there too.
Thing. Yeah.
Did you say his mother made fun of his penis too, or
yes,
was that?
She made fun of his penis while she was whipping him with a whip.
Yeah, that can't do that.
No, that's a bad mommy.
But goddamn, 22 people, man, and all the fake names, you know. Kind of makes you wish they would bring back the paper IDs, right? So you could just keep printing off different names, and that's just who you are right now.
I really wish they'd bring that back, because I got some plans lined
I'm
up.
tired of Cody Wong, and I want to be somebody completely different.
I want to be James Bluebeard Watson.
I want to be Tobey Maguire, star of Spider-Man 3.
Hell
Best film in 2007.
Spider Terry.
I want to be a William Williams.
Oh.
You love the fucking bellboy.
Listen, I need me a case of the bellboy.
Quit being a beer tender and go be a bellboy somewhere.
I just
I've
listened to
been
that
a
episode
beer
again.
tender for like a year.
Truth.
Well, you could be, if you would have, quit fucking around, you graduated high school, you became a bellboy from there, you could be like bellboy captain.
Supreme.
Yeah.
I was just going to say.
Grand Dragon Bellboy.
Is that the high level bellboy supreme?
Yeah. If you want to tell us what the levels of bellboys are, you can do so at bumblebuttpodcast@gmail.com.
What's that, Adam?
bumblebuttpodcast@gmail.com. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at bumblebuttpod and on Facebook and Instagram at bumblebuttpodcast. Instagram's kind of our main focus. Of course, Jordan and I also have personal Instagrams.
Damn right.
His is at j.j.fox.
Yup.
Mine is at bumbleadam.
Yeah.
And Cody just uses the company one.
I am going to be making my own very soon.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Well, once you do, then I can say it. But until then, Cody.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Until then, you shut up.
You know who else doesn't care?
Who?
People who leave iTunes reviews.
Now you're doing my job too? Now you're
not
only are you cross-talking and interrupting, but now you're taking my job away from me.
Bluebeard in your ass.
And now it's time for the most important part of the show, at least if you ask Cody, the iTunes reviews.
Fucking none.
Yep, we didn't get any.
I can't believe we got no iTunes reviews.
They did us in dirty.
I guess they don't love you boys anymore.
We had a record-setting day for downloads.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even leave a review.
You know what I'm starting to learn? Like, the downloads are going up, the reviews aren't going up as much, but I feel like they're connected, but not as much as they claim to be.
We get like one review for every 1.5 thousand downloads or something.
Something like that.
It's crazy.
I just want to break 100 by the end of the year. That's all I want.
At the end of the year.
Well,
I want to break 200 by the end of the year.
That'd be nice, too.
Respect and earn twice. Once you lose it, it's gone. It's lame when your money right, but you're using it wrong.
It takes 10 seconds to click and just write, enjoy this podcast.
In the year of millennials, 10 seconds is too long.
10 seconds too long, baby.
That's true.
What's the name of, there's a punk song called 29 Second Song Too Goddamn Long.
ICP, I don't know.
Yeah, the best punk band. Cody, now that you're a lame bastard, let's get the hell out of here, shall we?
Let's do it.
I've been Adam. That has been Jordan. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Adam.
That's been Cody. Thank you, Cody.
Thank you, Adam.
And everybody, have a nice weekend, unless it's Tuesday.
Happy birthday, Pops.
Ah, yes. Forgot about that. Happy birthday, big boy.